guys, welcome to Jammin and Jammies, the podcast. I'm Megan Barker. You know the drill. We are sitting down with some of our favorite music creators, industry leaders, finding out how they got where they are and getting valuable insights into the music world. Today, we're here with one of my favorite people. I know I always say that, but lately it's been true. And this is one of my best friends in the world. This is Brittany Brodie.
Hello.
Brittany's here. She is a Canadian country singer-songwriter who resides in Nashville, has had a lot of airplay, like all the things. So we're just going to dive into all of it. Let's welcome her. Hi, Brittany.
Hi, Megan.
And the crowd goes wild.
This is so fun.
This is so exciting. I want to just start at the beginning. Tell us how you got into music, where you're from, all of those things.
Oh my gosh. Okay, all the way to the beginning.
The beginning.
All right. Well, when I was 3, I have a vivid core memory saying to my parents that I was going to sing on the Opry.
When you were 3?
When I was 3.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I know. Who knows that? You're a toddler.
So you guys used to watch the Opry?
Yeah.
Or listen to the Opry, whatever, yeah.
Yeah. Listen, watch it. And I heard about it all the time growing up because my parents obviously listened to it on radio before I ever came along.
Yeah.
But I just remember watching it, and I said I was going to do that one day.
Wow.
And it's always been music. And my first performance out in public would be 7.5, 8 years old.
Really? Where was it?
It was in Canada. It was at a singing competition. And I don't think they're quite as big now as they used to be.
Yeah.
But when I was growing up, coming up in the business, the fairs, every town or city had fairs, and they would always have singing contests, and there would be national contests. I think I won one, but other than that, never placed in any other.
Aw.
Which is fine.
That's funny. You were doing it for the fun of it.
Yeah, and I just remember hearing at the time, Garth Brooks, Martina McBride, they had said they never won any contests. I'm like, well, I'm like them, so that's okay.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's fine. I'm just like Garth. I'm just like Martina.
Yeah.
Okay, so then who were your biggest influences?
When I was quite little, I grew up on pretty traditional country music.
Yeah.
So Dottie West.
Yeah.
Hank Cochran, Lefty Frizzell. George Strait when you get into the sooner years, Dolly Parton. And then when I started spreading my wings a little bit, the Spice Girls were huge for me. Huge influence.
I love the Spice Girls too.
I love Bryan Adams, and he's Canadian. Sheryl Crow.
Yeah.
I had such a vast, but it was 99% country all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even, when I was little, my dad's like, oh, you can't listen to that kind of stuff. He's going to give me heck for saying that now. But it's true. He just has to live with the fact. But it was always country.
Yeah.
And even when I had Sheryl Crow's first album, when it came out, they thought that was hard rock.
Yeah.
And maybe not appropriate.
That's funny.
But now it's pretty soft rock.
Well, take us into when music started to become a real big part of your life. Maybe you're a little bit older. Were you a teenager? How old were you when you first started playing your first real gigs?
First
or
gigs.
Going into the studio for the first time, when music became...
Oh, yeah, 12, 13.
Okay.
Yeah, around that age. And my parents, they took me all over the place, playing shows and opening for people and recording. And I remember being young in the studio and cutting other people's songs.
Yeah. How did you get those songs?
So I would just get to know different producers and
they would
managers
have songs that
other singers or other writers had put into their hands, and they just thought they would work for me. But when you're 12, 13, 14, 15 years old singing about love and heartbreak, you don't have a clue.
Well, you're just a kid.
Yeah.
You're a baby. I should have asked you ahead of time if you have any of those recordings. But maybe we'll do a follow-up. We'll see if she has.
I do.
Oh, okay. No,
they're in the vault.
We're going to have to dig in this vault,
There's
guys.
cassettes galore. There's tons.
Do you guys remember cassettes?
There's only people watching. What's a cassette?
What's a cassette?
Not an 8-track, a cassette.
I've literally had people ask me that before. Obviously really young people. They were like, yeah, I saw a cassette in some TV show. That was from the 80s, right? And I was like, 90s, but okay. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, anyway. So you're recording music when you're 12, 13. You're starting to open shows and play festivals and stuff, I imagine. Mm-hmm. So when was your first trip to Nashville?
When I was 18.
You were 18. Take us there.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, this was a trip that was coming for a long time.
I'm sure.
And when you're one of 3 kids and working parents, that's all they do is work and raise kids. Like, it's hard to make that happen.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it costs, I know, a lot of money at that time. I mean, at that time, it still does. Nashville's very expensive.
Yeah.
But, so I was 18. My daddy and I drove down here.
You drove?
Yep. Oh. And totally didn't have a clue. Thought that it was the old-fashioned way where you could have your CD.
Yeah.
And your 8x10.
Go knock on doors.
And your bio. Like, basically, I bought like those folders, you open.
Yeah.
One side is your 8x10.
Yes.
And then this is your bio and your CD.
Yeah.
With like 3 songs. Has to be specific style so they can hear what you can do.
I had folders like this.
Yep. And like a little business card.
It's like your press kit, but it was like physical.
It's a press kit.
Yeah.
That's right. That's what it is. And I went all up and down Music Row.
Yeah, you did.
I got told to get. They're like, really? This is not the way.
Oh,
and
that's
they
precious.
don't take unsolicited material, and you just don't know.
Yeah.
Like, you think you're coming from out of town, you're bringing this in, and you know how talented you are. Your parents know, and the two of you are pushing for it. But you know how it is. It's just not that way.
And once you spend more time here, you realize you can be the most talented person in your town, but there's people in Nashville that are just as talented, if not more. So moving to Nashville really, really makes you better. But anyway, so you went up and down. You kind of had an awakening. What did you do when you were here? I know you're a big fan of the Nashville Palace. Did you go to the Palace first trip?
Yeah, we were at the Nashville Palace.
Yep.
And I've seen it from when I was 18 to now. Like, I've seen massive changes.
Yep.
I've seen massive changes just in Nashville infrastructure in general, the music business.
Tourism.
Tourism. You used to be able to afford a hotel here for 2 weeks straight. Mm-hmm. Now that's like the price of one night.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen it all over this many years. And
it's crazy.
yeah, I remember being at one of the labels. I think it was Warner Brothers. I don't even know. Probably was. And my dad, we were at the receptionist. My dad, I think he was starting to get a little frustrated because we're at this for days. And he's like, can you please listen? You have no idea how good my daughter is. And they're like, I'm sure she's wonderful, but this just isn't how it works.
Oh,
I know, bless them, because it's a learning curve. But you know what? I wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. Look at the story we have to tell.
Look at the story.
Because now it's like, I emailed you. It's in your email.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
It's just the sacrifices and what you think it is and what it actually is, and those memories that you made, and then now the stories you can tell.
Yeah. Honestly, the harder a journey is, the sweeter the outcome is. When you're successful, hopefully. Okay, so you came to Nashville. You're knocking on doors. It isn't what you thought. It was
I played Tootsies that trip.
Did you play Tootsies?
Yeah.
See, that's something.
Yeah. But you meet, it was interesting. This happened like 2 for sure. I think possibly 3 times that trip. You'll meet, I forget the gentleman's name at the time, but he was a big deal at Tootsies. I don't know if he was an owner then or not, but he was like 100 years old back then. And I remember being in there, and me, I just talked to everybody. And I was still young, and he was up at the front window. You know how there's like that special spot. And just start talking to Dad and I, and he's like, I'm going to pay the band to get you up there to sing. And I was like, okay. So I remember he slept him $100.
Stop.
Yeah.
What'd you sing?
I don't even remember now.
Oh.
I don't even remember.
What a good story, though. I bet your dad loved that, though.
Yeah, but you know how it goes. Oh, I'm going to make you a star.
Stop.
I'm going to do this and this and this for you. And, anyway, maybe I shouldn't get into this whole thing. Maybe this is for another time. But anyways, that did not happen.
Yeah. Long story long.
But it's just part of the thing coming up in the business. You hear it 1,000 times. People are going to do this and this and this for you. It doesn't happen that way.
So what happened when you went home? So like you went to Nashville for the first time, you had these experiences, then you went home. What happened then?
I just got back at it, doing shows, writing.
When did radio come into the picture for you? Because I know that radio has been a really big part of your career.
Mm-hmm. When did radio come in? Maybe 2010.
Yeah. So how did that come about? And because for those who maybe don't know, and I don't pretend to be an expert at this stuff at all, but Canadian radio is totally different than American radio in that I feel like as a Canadian artist, you at least have some doors available to you if you're an independent artist. And like if you're an indie artist, you know, down here in the States, it's like more difficult. So anyway, take us into Canadian radio and how you got involved in all the things.
Well, yeah, it is true. The radio thing in every country really is different because Australia, Europe, they have a whole other way they do things.
Yeah.
And Canada is different. And then here, that's a whole other ball game.
Yeah.
You give me a few million, I can put out a single to radio here. Like it's just,
yeah.
And in Canada, it's not the way.
Yeah. It's very like political.
Or
in the States.
It's really political in Canada.
Well, I'm
too.
sure,
but
but you know what I mean.
Business as a whole is political.
But like the fact that you've had airplay and you don't have a label in Canada, I feel like in the States that's unheard of.
Right. So for independent artists, it's more accessible. But you got to really show a build up in your career. Like you have to.
Sure. I'm definitely. I don't mean to make it sound like it's easy. That's not what I meant. I just meant that you've had this opportunity. So tell us about it.
Just like anything, it takes time and it takes hard work.
Yeah.
And eventually, you just make the right connections. And I had tried my best to keep good relationships with radio, and I've done a radio tour across Canada and built those relationships. And then it just seems, I guess, the Canadian music industry just has a better program for independent artists.
Yeah.
To get radio play, especially at satellite radio, that is not here.
Yeah.
Which is really
interesting.
It's interesting, but it's also really unfair because we're the backbone. All these ones coming up.
Right. Absolutely.
This is how it keeps the wheels turning, is all of our talent, all of our work, and all of our money making that happen.
Well, do you remember the first time you heard your song on the radio?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So I was in the garage at home at my mom and dad's, and I didn't know. Sometimes when they're going to feature you, and you get ready. You sit at radio, and you're like waiting. And you're like, it's going to happen at 11:05. You just know, but I didn't know. We were out in the garage, probably working on something. My dad always had something going on, like maybe a tractor or something, and it come on and. Oh, yeah, I don't think I could talk for 2 days. I screamed so much. Jumping up and down and going crazy.
Was it?
It was Together, Never Alone.
That's so amazing.
Yeah. That was my first one where it went like as a single, properly hiring all the right people, all the right team, and really making that big.
All pushing this single.
Yeah. Before that, I had some songs that I didn't write. I was just the singer on them. That had got featured here and there. And I mean, that's cool too, but it's different when you didn't expect it and you put all that into it.
Did you
it's
write
a different
this song?
thing. Yeah.
And so it was the first song that you had been a part of writing. That's really cool. Yeah. That's amazing.
Well, and again, when I meant to say back before when I was talking about growing up, going in the studio and working with different producers and managers and just different teams, and everyone's got an opinion and everyone's pulling you this way, that way. And you're so young and vulnerable, and you know what you want, but you're told to.
Well, yeah, they're like, how could you know? You're young.
Yeah, you don't know. You're so young, and you have to wait for the professionals to tell you how to breathe. And I did that, and I remember being really young and recording these songs that I did not relate to whatsoever, and just being told this is the way, this is how it is. But I wasn't relating.
Yeah.
And when you hear a song and you can feel what they're singing?
Yeah.
Like the emotion?
Yeah.
I can't have emotion about those things when I'm so young.
Right.
So, but I wish then that I stood up more as a young person. That is even advice I have now for people coming up in it that are young. Yes, listen to people that are ahead of you because they got to where they are for reasons. And you can always learn so much. But also, you got to know who you are and just put a little bit of that in too. Don't lose sight of that. And, just follow your own moral compass and and record songs and write songs that, you know, you're experiencing in your age group. And
yeah.
So it's relatable.
Yeah.
Because no one's going to believe a 12-year-old singing about love and heartache.
Right.
I don't even believe it. So why would you?
Tell us about your songwriting process. And what has songwriting been like for you?
Well, since I was quite little, I started with a journal. Mm-hmm. So like grade 4.
Yeah.
And you come into school and they'd ask you to draw a little picture at the top, which I don't draw. Like, they're not good. I'd have to go back and look at them. They're in a box somewhere. My mom kept all that stuff. But really bad drawing. But writing stories of the weekend, but then I would turn them into songs.
Aww.
You know, what'd you do on the weekend? And you'd write it all down. That's so I was like forming those types of things at that time. And my process. It's different.
Well, tell us about your process now and living in Nashville and writing with professional hit songwriters all the time. Like, what is your process like? I mean, do you like to provide more lyrics? Do you like to provide more melody? Do you like to start with a hook? Like, take us into the creative process.
Yes. So sometimes it just depends on the day. Sometimes I'm quite good with melodies and coming up with that. And, you know, sometimes I'll have a hook, a really good idea.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of a typical Nashville answer. I hate putting people on the spot, but some people have a very specific process. But really, I think in Nashville, every room is different. So it's kind of like everyone has their strengths. Like you just said, you're really strong with melodies, and you are. But yeah, I think every room is
like
kind
sometimes
of
I'll go in and I'll be like, I just wrote half this song last night, want to finish it.
Yeah.
And then it just depends. Like,
yeah.
It's interesting because some people that happens with you're writing with, and then one day you'll go in and be like, I just have this idea.
Yeah.
And it's kind of this stews for a while, or it's just a mix.
It is.
There's not just one way.
Do you have a favorite song? And I know favorite songs change all the time for artists, but do you have a favorite song to perform?
Of my own or
yeah.
cover? Of
well,
my own?
both. Do both.
Oh boy.
It could just be like, what's your favorite right now to perform?
Yeah, because that's hard. These are things I need to know the questions ahead of time, and then I can think of a really good answer.
Okay, so like I love your newest single. Obviously, I've listened to it with the windows down because it feels like something you listen to with the windows down.
It does.
Southern Coast of California. Love this song.
Yeah, I love that. It's a great song.
I bet that's a fun song to perform live.
It is fun.
Yeah.
I do like that because, like you said, when you're driving, you have the windows down. While I'm singing it, I picture that.
It's just what it feels like. Like you just feel like your hand out the window. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. So I really do like doing that one. A newer one. Well, I wrote it a little bit ago, but newer to singing publicly. Denim Jacket.
I love that song. That is such a great song.
Thank you. It's an emotional song for me. And it's also my favorite piece of clothing. It's
very Canadian of you.
I just love denim jackets. But I remember performing that actually just not long before I got married last September. I performed it in Scotland at a show, and you could hear a pin drop in that room.
I bet.
And after the concert, everybody was coming up saying that
was their favorite song.
But it was like a next level thing.
Wow.
It like moved them.
It's a special song. If you haven't heard Denim Jacket by Brittany Brodie, you have to hear it.
Yeah. There's a couple videos online. I haven't recorded that.
I was going to say, she hasn't released it yet, but you posted a video of you playing it on Today in Nashville, didn't you?
Yeah.
So I think there's live performances.
Yes.
But I hope you put that one out.
I know I need to.
Yeah.
It's just a gorgeous song.
It is.
And covers, oh my gosh. I do love Driving My Life Away, Eddie Rabbit.
Oh, I bet you do that well. I've never heard you do that.
It's so fun.
I love that song. Okay. Take us into, you had spent time in the UK before you even met your husband. Mm-hmm. And then for those who don't know, she's been married almost a year.
It's going to be a year in 1 month.
Yeah.
So a month today, it'll be a year.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Yeah. But before you even met him, you had been to the UK and done shows over there. Mm-hmm. So how did that come about? And like, why do you like playing in the UK? Tell us about that.
Okay. Well, how did that come about is I'm like, you know, when you have one of those like squeaky wheels on your car and it's really annoying and it's like, it's not too annoying, but it's annoying. You know it's there. Well, that's me when I email and contact people, which is good advice. You can be a little squeaky, but not
obnoxious.
Yeah, don't let the tire blow. Just get squeaky.
It's a fine line.
Yeah, it's a fine line. So I was a little squeaky and was emailing some promoters. I made some great relationships over there before I had even landed in the UK, and I hadn't been there yet. This was a dream for all my life to go over there. I just always was. There was this part of me that was just drawn to the UK,
and now we know why.
It's crazy. It's just crazy. Like there was a part of my soul just like pulling me there. Anyway, so I just emailed, found promoters. I honestly don't even know how I stumbled across the people that I did. I don't know.
It's the universe.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
And then they're like, wow, you really are on top of this. How about you come on over? And we meet, and they put on certain festivals like Nashville Meets London, which I absolutely loved performing at. And we'll see how it goes. And so
that was the beginning of that.
I just took a risk, and I was ready for it, and I was excited, and I hopped on a plane and went over there and just built relationships and made things happen, and also made some amazing friends who are also artists and songwriters over in the UK. Like I've got a good network of friends over there now, and just made that happen.
It was just meant to be. They love good music, but they love country music.
I was just going to say.
They love country music.
I was going to say, like, not to knock anywhere else, because I love everybody and I love all the countries. Anywhere I perform, I'm grateful. But the UK fans and in London, they're next level. They know every single word. Like, they didn't need to know who I was. They're like, who's Brittany Brodie? Like, I'm on the bill with people that they know. And they went out of their way to make sure they knew what everyone was singing, what everyone had going on.
Wow.
And they love CDs, they love merch, but just they listen and they're quiet, and every single thing, like they're clinging on to everything you say.
Yeah.
They're just
so special.
It was very special. One of the best.
Yeah. And it is wild that you were always drawn to the UK. And she didn't meet her husband, by the way, and we don't have to get into all of that, but she didn't even meet him like in the UK. You met him in Nashville, which is crazy. And he's Scottish. Anyway, so Ewan is the love of her life. And now we know why you were always drawn to that side of the world.
Isn't that just crazy though?
That's wild. That's crazy.
Like and I would joke, I can't believe we're going down this road, but you already like took the car down the road. We're on the road. I never thought I'd ever get married. I was like, no, never.
That's how it happens.
But I would joke to my mom, because I knew it was just so far out there that it just wasn't possible. I was like, but if I ever did, it'd be in a castle in Scotland. Haha. It happened.
Stop. It's insane.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, you spoke it into...
I'm telling you, I'm a firm believer in that. Anyone that truly knows me knows that I'm all about the power of the secret. And it's been that way.
It's true, though.
Since I was a little kid.
You decide.
Yeah. When I remember being little and, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'm going to be a famous country singer. Don't you mean you want to be? No, I'm going to be. Like I always, I'm gonna, difference. Not I wanna.
That's right.
Always. But some people think that's cocky. And I'm like, no, I'm attracting that to me.
It's true.
And, you think about, sure, right now I'm not where I want to be, but I am where I wanted to be 2 years ago.
Well, you make a living doing country music in Nashville, Tennessee. You're happy, you're married, you're working every day and releasing music. You are a successful country singer. You are. You. I mean, I feel like fame is relative and success is relative. So if you're happy with what you're doing and people in the UK sing along to your songs when you go over there and play, like, you are a rock star.
Oh, you're so sweet.
It's true.
But it's so interesting because you always think, oh, I really want to be here. But remember where you were years ago. Where I'm sitting right now is where I want it to be.
That's right.
Even, like I said, 2 years ago.
That's right.
Like I have a home in Nashville. Nashville's my home. Like I've dreamt about that since I was a little kid.
It's true.
Like I love putting my address on something. I love that I write Nashville as home. Like it's just silly, all these little things. But yeah, you just really got to take a step back for a minute and be like, even what you have right now, even though you're still working very hard and you're not exactly where you want to be yet, look how far you've come.
It's so important.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never understood also, like, a question that you get asked a lot in Nashville. I think it's just Nashville. It's like, are you trying to be an artist? Are you doing the artist thing? And it's like, I'm not trying to be an artist. I am an artist. No record label or number of streams or any of that or lack of that can take that away from you. Like, you either are an artist or you're not.
Yeah.
I just think that's really interesting.
I like
that was a side note.
That's very good. I just seen an interview recently for the new Mission Impossible film, and which was absolutely phenomenal. I'm a fan. I've seen all of them. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I love Tom Cruise. He is a genius and very passionate about what he does. And he was being interviewed, and it was like the cast, there was like the producers, him, anyway. And the people on the other side of the camera, he's like, so what do you do? And he's like, oh, I want to be an actor. And he's like, you want to be an actor? He's like, aren't you an actor? He's like, well, yeah, but I want to be. He's like, no, you are.
That's it right there.
You are.
That's it.
Like, you don't want to be that. We are that. But you're right, it is a thing.
Well, everything in life is a mindset. And I feel like I could go down this rabbit hole because we're obviously very passionate about this. But yeah, you either are something or you're not. Like, no in between. I love that. You have a very good mindset. You've always been very positive as long as I've known you. And a squeaky wheel and hardworking.
Thank you.
What gets you, like, let's dive into it. We don't always have great days in this industry. A lot of no's, a lot of like almost. So what gets you out of bed on a bad day? I'm serious.
Something pulls me out. I don't know what it is sometimes.
But right? I mean, like, sometimes we all have to lay in bed a little bit and wallow, and that's okay. But then you have to get back up. What gets you back up?
I'm just so stubborn. And even though the no's and the almost and the maybes set you back and you're just so tired of hearing it for 100 years, it's that drive. You know, there could be 200 no's, but today could be that yes.
You never know.
Yeah. It's like, you don't know how close you are to success, however you label or wherever you put success for you. That's different for everybody.
It's the next step. You never know.
You don't know. Right when you're about to quit, that's when
I was
everything
literally
can change.
Talking about this in the last episode. So if you're watching, when I was talking with David Evans, and we were talking about, I was saying that's honestly like the most frustrating part of this whole journey. It pisses me off the most is like, you don't know. So that right that you maybe don't feel like going to, or that event that you don't feel like going to, you can't afford to say no or cancel or be lazy. Obviously, sometimes we cancel or whatever, but like, you just can't afford to miss an opportunity because you don't know, like you said. Mm-hmm. But that's the part that pisses me off the most because you just don't know. It's like, God, that stress of not knowing, like, this could be the day.
I know.
And it gets exhausting after, you and I have been doing this most of our lives. Mm-hmm. We don't need to get into how long, but like most of our lives. And so maybe some people don't realize that really takes a toll after a long time. And you're not where you want to be. You're farther along than you were. But it does take a toll mentally and emotionally. And it some days is harder to keep going. So that's why I just wanted to dive in and just ask you, like, what keeps you going on a bad day?
Yeah, it's tough.
It's just ultimately that drive and your love of music, I'm sure.
I don't know any other way.
You're such a music fan, by the way. Like, well, it sounds silly because like, oh, every artist is a music fan. Not to the same extent. Like, she is a true music fan. Like, every time I talk to you, she is up to date on like the new Morgan Wallen or the new whatever. But then she also knows every single song Willie Nelson, we were just talking about this, every single song Willie Nelson's ever recorded. Like, I don't know how you do it. You are a music machine.
I love that you said that. Thank you. Because I always said my dad is a music encyclopedia.
That's you. Thanks. In my book, that's you.
Well, like all my old country history, I learned from my dad, but I feel like it's just in my blood, and then it's just carried on through me.
Well, a lot of people get stuck in what they listen to, and I just don't think that's you, and I think that's amazing. Like I said, she loves all these old classic country artists that built Nashville, by the way, built the music industry. But, I walk in your house last time I was here, and you had the new Morgan Wallen album on.
Oh, I think it was Luke Combs.
Or was Luke Combs.
Yep.
Either one.
Oh, it was so great, that album.
She already like knew every word, and it had just come out, and I was like, it's impressive.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
That's so nice to say.
So I just love that you love music. I think
But I have to say, I've really broadened my horizons. And now, since meeting you and my husband, he comes from a rock background and he's a musician as well. So that was not something I knew much about. And now
you have like
I
a new appreciation for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, I always loved AC/DC, but now like Guns N' Roses and, well, I've always loved Bryan Adams, but even more. There's so many bands, I can't even name them all, even British bands that you don't really hear of here. But even when I go to the gym in the morning, I used to have like a fitness mix, which was like Dua Lipa and stuff like that. No, not anymore. That ship sailed. I love her. But my new ship that's come in is rock. Like
new
80s
ship.
and 90s rock.
I love it.
Oh, it is so good.
It's good to work out too.
It's like but it's hard because I'm like, oh, I really like that. And then I'm like, okay, you got to focus on what you're doing. But there's some cool stuff like bands that I didn't ever know growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love music.
You love music.
Yeah.
Well, what is next for you?
Next for me, releasing more music and recording, always writing, releasing more music, shows coming up that I'll announce soon. And I'm picking up a lot of anthems. People seem to love me singing the anthem.
What is that like?
It's one of the greatest honors of my life.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a great privilege to be able to perform that song, and it just carries so much weight.
Yeah.
The pressure of the anthem is real, and pretty well everyone I know will not do it.
Yeah.
They won't perform it. They're absolutely terrified. They don't want to forget the words. They don't want to do something wrong. And everyone has an opinion. They don't like when you change stuff. I always keep it very classic.
Very straight ahead.
I love the high notes. I hit those hard with lots of power.
You have an incredible power behind your voice.
Thank you.
You have a lot of power.
But I just did the sounds game a couple nights ago. I had so many different people coming up to me that night, more than any time I've ever performed the anthem, telling me how amazing it was, and they love that I didn't mess with it too much. They're awesome. Like, you didn't do anything crazy. Because people with the anthem, I've learned it's a very fine line. It's almost disrespectful
to make it your own.
Yes. Yeah. You don't mess with it. You keep it at or under 1:30. Just sing it beautifully, lots of power, but don't mess with it. It's like disrespectful to them. So, and again, it's almost like an out of body thing for me. I have an immense, like, I feel so much privilege to be able to do it because I know the men and women that have fought in the wars and in all the countries and in the United States and in Canada and even my family. And
very special honor. It is.
I'm very grateful to be able to lend my voice to it.
We're grateful that you do that too.
Thank you.
What is your ultimate dream? Let's wrap up and end things with, like, you know, you're 80 years old, 90 years old, 100 years old.
Oh.
What is it that you did? What was your dream?
Is it too big to say that I want to be like Dolly Parton?
No.
She's got the ultimate life.
I should have prefaced that with, like, there are no wrong answers. I truly believe you can't dream too big. I hate when you tell people that you want to sing in stadiums or arenas or whatever, and they're just like, okay, like, be realistic. I am being realistic.
Yeah, that's what you want.
If Dolly Parton can do it, you can.
Yeah, I 100% believe that. I just, want to be making music till I'm 100 and whatever years old and be happy and, not worry about how you're paying your bills or think about money. Just go out and do your thing. And, of course, always give back. That's important to me. You get a little, you give a little. Just to live a nice, comfortable life and happy doing music 24/7 and recording, touring, shows, write a book.
Yeah. So just keep doing what you're doing.
All the things. I'll always have goals.
Just keep growing.
Yes. There's always going to be the next thing. I would love to have a denim line.
Oh my God. I love that. I could see that for you.
I would
wear
love
them.
boots, even lingerie. I would love. I love it. I want like all the clothing.
Denim lingerie.
Can you imagine?
Put me down right now.
Okay.
This is so fun. It always goes by so fast. And I feel like this whole time I've been stroking this weird ball pillow.
Oh, I love it.
I love this so much. I need one of these.
It's
comforting.
It is.
It's very comforting.
My favorite pillow I've ever got.
Thank you for sitting down and talking with me.
Thank you.
I feel like it went by really fast and there's like other stuff that we didn't talk about. So lately I've been telling people, I'm like, we'll just have to do a part 2 at some point.
A part 2 would be cool.
Yeah. And we'll just talk about it even more.
I would love that.
But everybody go check out Brittany. Where can they check you out? Apple, Spotify, all the things.
Oh yeah. Everywhere. Anywhere you get your music.
What's your Instagram?
Brittany Brodie.
Look at that. It's so easy.
Yeah. I'm on TikTok. I need to be better on TikTok.
It's so hard. I know.
I love Instagram so very much. Are you on that new app?
What's the new one? Threads?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got on Threads like one of the second day or something. I'm just going to jump on. And then I feel like it kind of simmered down.
I haven't been on since.
I haven't been on since.
But I'm still Twitter, whatever they call it now.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it is now.
It's still a thing.
But I love Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm calling it Twitter forever.
Everybody loves Twitter still.
But there's so many things that you have to like get on, and I know. It's a lot. But Instagram's my most favorite.
Well, thank you for sitting down with us.
Thank you, Megan Barker.
Everybody go check her out. Go check out her music if you haven't already. And and hopefully we can get you on Jammin and Jammies soon. I keep asking her and she's like, yeah, I'll do it soon.
Yes. Oh, no, I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay, let's go. Yeah. Okay. All right, y'all. We'll see you next time. Thank you.